Yes. Hello, everyone. We are here and I'm excited. It's like, let's get started. Let's get the time off. My name is Lion Flood. Thank you all for coming to check this out today. This is simply a demo. That is it, right? A demo of Ecamm, the absolute most powerful content creation system around. And I'm so motivated and I'm excited. So I want to give a big thanks and shout out to Ecamm. Ecamm, thank you for allowing me to be part of the fam. Okay, so what are we going to be going over today? Primarily, Ecamm just released the new version 4.1. And as one of the beta testers, I have to tell you, I'm so happy. There's so much to go over, and we're not going to do all of that today. We're going to go over just some simple features. And with that being said, if you have some comments, please put your comments down in the comment section. I want to make sure I get to them and try to see as many as I can. We may be having a few, but if you have a question, I want you to put your question in just a little bit different. What I want you to do is I want you to place a cue, and then you're going to place your question right behind it. What that is going to do is that is going to allow the system Ecamm to separate comments from questions. All right. So do not be afraid to put some comments in there, some questions. If you see something that's just like, whoa, how did that happen? That's what this is for. We're going to demo, and then I'm going to kind of show you a few different things that's happening. This is not in any shape, form, or fashion a pitch or anything like that. I do have a 14-day free trial. If you like, the link will be in the comments so you can try it out. Either way, I just love showing it, and I love for people to see the opportunity you have. I was in the meeting with Amy Porterfield today when her boot camp class. And the whole week, people have been asking, what is she using? What is she using? Well, she uses Ecamm in conjunction with a lot of other things as well, but primarily Ecamm. Stu, Pat Flynn, a lot of the big heavy hitters use that. And soon my name will be up there as well. People will be saying, what does Lion use? He uses Ecamm. So we're going to be going over something called overlays. If you use some other streaming software, you might be familiar with it. We're also going to be going over some text boxes, and I'll show you some of the differences in that green screen and just some of the all around power that Ecamm actually provides. Okay. So while you're here, let me know who you are and where you're coming in from, right? What part of the state? I'd love to know a little bit more about you and everything that you have going on. All right. So let's start off with overlays and one of the new features that Ecamm has, and that's absolutely so powerful. So if you do come in a little bit, well, I probably should say that a little bit later. If someone comes in later, I'll know, but then they can catch up or whatever, right? All right, so let's start off with boxes. We're going to start off with the overlays, and I'm going to make a box here. All right, and I'll put it to the side just for a second so you can kind of see it and shrink it down. Everything that you're seeing me do right now is being done live. All right, it's on the fly, on the cuff, live right now. So one of the great things about these overlay boxes is that you have the ability to one change the color. So let's say if I want to change this to an orange, Marciano, I think is what it's called, not actually orange, Marciano. And on a second, let me just double check my audio, make sure. Okay, good to go. Should have did that, but all right. So Marciano. So it may seem like, oh, well, you just, put a color there and you just made a box. But the ability to be able to change that to pretty much whatever you like at the drop of a dime, and add the colors in like that, it's so you can't even imagine how powerful that is, right? Especially when you're designing your scenes, your layout for your presentation, and everything I'm showing you here for me is designed for presentation, right? Now, let's say you designed this and you wanted to get maybe something a little bit more eye catching. Well, we have the ability to also add another color and make it a gradient, right? So now let's say I want to make that one just a little bit brighter and different. I want to add that Marciano back. So now I have a little kind of purplish and red, maybe. Yeah. And I also have the ability to take down that color, right? The opacity in essence. But I can change it. Let's go here. No, I like, all right, let's use this one here. So now I've added a overlay box to be gradient, right? Now let's take it one step further. With this gradient box, I can then change the angle of the color. So let's say I have the pinkish color at the bottom, but I want that at the top. So if you look at the top of the box now, you will see that the color has changed and went to the top. Maybe let me try black, maybe be more a little bit more prominent. Yeah, okay. So now watch the black at the top come to the bottom. You can see that move, right? No, I should probably keep keep it like that. Okay. Also, what's great about this as well, the ongoing gradient, you can now, let me just double check something. Okay, they're still going. You can now also in 4.1 add motion to this. What you're going to see is if you look at this box, you're going to see the colors are actually moving, right? They're actually moving. And I could tell you what, another great way to show you this is look at the background around where you see redesign at the bottom. Look at that color moving, right? It's so subtle, but your brain picks up on it subconsciously without knowing. And it gives a beautiful aesthetic to your presentation, to your live, to your recorded videos, whichever way it does that. And I see some more people coming in. Hey, how's it going? Again, ask any questions, throw some comments in there. If you have questions, put a Q colon and then your question inside there. And again, all of those things you see now with that question marks that just popped up and went off screen, that's in Ecamm, right? So back to the overlay box, and we're going to be covering overlays, text boxes, green screens, and then a few other things to show you how powerful Ecamm is. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. So let me show you what's next on the overlay boxes. You can add borders to it. Pretty much if you have an artistic mind, you can kind of make these yourself and make whatever you want. So let's say if I wanted to add a color border, and I'm going to show you something live here in a second, or show you something that I did with my live button that kind of couldn't bring this full circle. So you see how I added a yellow border around, and again, this is just with the click of a button. It's one of the great things I love about Ecamm is it's so simple, and there's not a lot of thought process to go into um, producing it, right? You don't have to search, or I hear a lot of people on Zoom say, let me share my screen, and you have to search for a button, or let me mute you, and this whole thing. So now let's take this another level as well. So now I have a gradient color as an overlay, and then I have a yellow box. So with that yellow box, I can make that border gradient as well. So now I'm going to make that yellow and black. All right, so now you see how I have this gradient in the same way you did with the box. I can make that move. So look at the box border. The yellow and the black are moving, right? This comes in handy for some specific reasons, and I'll make sure I'll show you in just a second. Just as simple as that, if I drag this, I can make this bigger and I can make this smaller. I can make it custom if I want to make it more of a rectangle, okay? Which makes it so much easier. Along with that, I can add in, let's say if I wanted to do someone's name, okay? And now I could add in their name. And imagine if your guest is coming on, and now you have their name inside of a box that looks kind of like this. It looks really kind of aesthetically pleasing and more professional and more business oriented and more fun, right? Than just the normal things you may see in some other streaming platforms, okay? So now that's one aspect of the overlays. So let's say now, let me get rid of this, and let's say I want to keep this same box, but I want to make that more of a size like this, okay? So let's say if I got this picture that's right there, and I don't want that to directly show in my setup, okay? But of course, I don't want this box there like that. What I'm able to do is I can change this into so many different features with inside of my blend mode and so forth. And let me show you kind of how that looks, right? So now I can make that blurred, right? And I'll get rid of the border so it kind of looks a little bit better so you can see this now. So now watch as I just simply move that, and let's say I put it over my face. I can move that, and I can go back over to that picture that's there. I can control the blur. I can control the opacity of the blur. Let's say if I took it down, now you can see the picture a little bit better. Or actually even put it back on my face so you can see it a little bit more, right? I know what you're thinking, leave it there. No, I can control the opacity of the blur, okay, like this. What else I'm able to do is I'm able to, and I'll go through a few of these. I have zoom blur, which kind of just makes it go out a little bit more. I have another one, pixelate. If I have a guest that doesn't directly want their face to be shown, I can add a pixelation to it. Or again, maybe there's something on a video that you don't want to be seen. You can do that. You can do hex. So it's a little bit different. The pixelation on our circles. There's so many things you can do with this, right? Comic, I don't directly use this, but I've seen other people use it. But I can add kind of like this little feature to the face and make it more of like a comic feel or something like that. Twirl, you can do pinch, bump, zoom, whatever you're doing. Okay, yes, we definitely getting that one off. No, I saw a comment just now. Someone said leave it on. No, right? Okay, so that's just one aspect of the overlays right there, right? Now I'm gonna put a color back in here just so I can show you something else. All right, so we have that color back. Oh, I love the gradient though. Let me get that gradient back on there. Bam. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Love the gradient there. All right. Also with this, you can now control the actual shape types. So here we have a rectangle. Now I make just a simple square, which is simply a rectangle that's just extended, but okay. Then we have a circle. I can make this to a circle. And we have a squircle, which is kind of like a square and a circle together. So now I can make those different type of shapes. The ability what this gives you is sometimes, especially like when I was watching, for example, like Amy Porterfield's thing, a lot of people kept asking, well, how is she doing that circle and then having it onto another slide or something. Well, that's in essence kind of how I can make this a circle here, and then I can put my picture or my video inside of that. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So any questions, I'm gonna slow down, any questions over overlays and kind of what they are doing for this particular one. I will show you some more fancy and fun things with the overlays in just 1 second. But if you have any questions on this one, go ahead and let me know. So let me see. I think I've covered mostly everything on that. Oh, also transitions. So let's say if I wanted this to spin in from the, let's go left, right? So now if oh, you know what? Let me add a border back around that so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, there we go, right? So now if I wanted to have this come in and out, right, you're going to see it roll off, then I have it roll back in. So if I wanted to do a presentation and make something come in, it's just as simple as that, okay? So now let's say a feature that you wanted to do, and I'll bring that back up in just a second. But let's say I'm going to use that same concept of the overlay box. Here I'm going to bring up some notes, right? And it's just that simple, same process. But if I'm teaching or doing a presentation, or if I want someone to pay attention to something on the screen, now I can have this come up and where it's set out now, where I can have number one, number two, let's go to number three. And the fourth thing that I'm going to be talking about today, et cetera, I have that. But here's one of the great things about this. Let's say you're doing this and then you don't want all four things to be seen on screen at once, right? You don't want that. I can simply add in a rectangle. Okay, you're going to see this is the overlay that I just did. With that, I am now going to make that into a blur. Okay, like we did before, and I'm going to take the blur and place it here. Okay, and let's say I don't want that yellow to distract. I can simply take it off. And again, I'm not going deep into it, but just showing some of the powerful things that 4.1 has produced. So now I can do this and say, hey guys, we're going to go over 4 items today. And number one, we're going to be covering here. Then I can go and say, and then number 2, and then let's go over number 3. And then last but least, let's go over number 4. Okay, it's another great, powerful aspect that you're able to do. You're able to simply, quickly adjust this. Maybe you want this color to be a blue, right? Maybe you say, oh, you know what, my color is a yellow, right? And what's great about this as well is that you're able to adjust the transparency and opacity. Whereas now I can simply take that down. Okay. Oh, great. We have a question that just came up. Let me see. Posh Academy. What's going on? Precious, how are you doing? Now, let me test this out because I've been working on this. I still haven't done this full yet, but I'm going to bring this notes back. But for everyone else, we have, let me make sure I do this. All right, test that out. And then we're going to put your question in there. All right, here we go. We got it. I just got to smooth it out a little bit faster. Let's see. She says, where are these tools imported from? Imported from. So I'm trying to make sure I understand what you mean imported from. They are all in the overlay panel. So for those who don't know, and I'll show you a back end of what she's speaking of. And let me bring up my mouse here and I'll show you. So this is the overlay panel. Right? Everything that I'm doing is in this panel here that says overlay. I'm not messing with anything else. I'm simply clicking this button and I'll show you guys right now. So for example, I clicked that button there and it brought up this here. You can either click the pencil or double click is what I like to do. Then after that point, we go to fill or border. Okay, once I get there, fill or border. And I just got out of a meeting with the owners of Ecamm, and that's one of the great things I love about Ecamm is that the community. Yes, we can send in questions to the support team, but we have a community of over 20-something thousand people. And I guarantee if you put your question in there, it will be answered quick. Myself, we love helping people out. But that's where those are coming from, okay? So they're coming from the fill and the shape there. So let me bring this back. All right, So now the next thing that we're going to look at that I love, or anything else, I see some people, anything else that people want to know about that, or is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, so I'll show you this. It's not, matter of fact, I'll show you how it looks. You have what's called a shadow box. I love doing this. You can add a shadow to the overlay, and you don't probably see anything as much now, but I'll show you. If I bring this out, what I'm going to do is, there you go. Now you might be able to see the color a little bit. Actually, let me make the color different. That way you'll be able to see it more. There we go. We see that red behind it now. So I can add that. I can make the kind of come out to make it look 3D-ish in a sense. I can make the blur look a little bit different. So that makes it kind of feel just a little bit different, right? And so for an example, I'm gonna show you this. This is what I do for when I go live. Sometimes I will add that to my live box. And then I love to rotate that when it happens. So let's bring this out so people can actually see it a little bit more, okay? So now let's say I rotate this here. And let me make it bigger so some people can see. Let's move that down, make that bigger right there. Now by doing this, what I'm going to do is add a shadow to that, and then I'm going to change the color. And let's say I make this kind of like a dark bluish, right? I make this come out a little bit more, and now it's just giving that sign a little bit more depth. And then what I'm going to do from that point is I'm going to change and add on a border. Okay. And let's take that and make that green, just so you can see it. I don't want to, I'm just doing the colors just to show you kind of how this look and how smooth and easy this could be happening for everyone, right? So that's just overlays. It's one of the great new features that 4.1 has released inside of this right here. Again, I can make that gradient. So if I want that green, and then I want, let's go pink, right? I can make that. And I love adding motion to all of mine. It's very subtle. A lot of people don't notice it, but it's really a nice aesthetically pleasing thing for the eyes. Okay. So that is the new feature of the overlays. There's tons more, but I don't want to go too far into depth because I don't want anyone to feel like that's just too much. When you first learn Ecamm, it can't feel that way. I tell everyone, keep it to maybe 3 or 4 things that you like and kind of keep it there. All right. Now, let's go into, I'm gonna go into green screens before I go into text boxes. So let's get these off the screen here really quick. And I'm gonna go into green screen. Tons of great things that I love about green screen. The regular Ecamm was not able to do it except for the beta versions, but now it's rolled out. So if you have Ecamm, the regular version, just update it and it will update to 4.1 and you're able to do it, okay? So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look and post something on the screen to show you what this looks like, okay? So here we have something I brought in, John Travolta, just looking confused and so forth. That was brought in, dragged and dropped, and simply added on. And the way it looked before was simply like this. So let me put that back to normal. All right, so this is the way it looked when I first brought it into Ecamm. What's great about this is now you do not have to always edit something in a third party. You're able to then now simply with one click of a button, go over and click the button, and Ecamm has it done for you by itself. There are little things that I love doing, for example, like this, that makes it just a little bit more engaging when you're maybe talking or presenting or something like that. Little small overlays. These are all overlays that you're seeing that I just green screened out, and it made it just very quick and simple. One of the other great things about this is you can do the same thing and add sound onto it. So let me just make sure I think I got him. All right. So here's one that's going to come up and it's going to add sound into it. So let's bring up my
Doing?
Hmm?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
right. And so you're able to add all types of sound. You're able to add graphics. Here's another one, and this one here has sound as well. Right? So you can do so many different things now with 4.1 that you weren't able to do prior. so much. And again, there's so many more things with the green screen and everything else into that there. Let me show you. There was something else I was going to show you guys, right? I wanted to keep this little short and I had it written down. Text boxes. Okay. So let me show you text box. First, I'll show you what it looked like prior, and then you'll see what you can do now. So let's say if you wanted to add text on the screen, you said, hello, I'm here and I'm new, right? Okay, let's say we added this on the screen. And let me change the color on that to make that easy, brighter maybe. Okay, yeah, you can see the yellow, right? So now here's one of the things before with the regular text. If I wanted to make this size different, as I move the box, you don't see this now, but on my side of the screen, I see that it's inside of a box. But I wanted to move the box so I can put a picture underneath the wording, for an example, right? As I move the box, it now the text gets smaller, and it may not seem like a difference, but now I'm going to add in the new feature, and I'll put in hello, I'm new here, and I'm ready. Okay, let's see. All right, so now this is with the new feature. Okay, 4.1. If you see, and let's make the text size bigger. So what happens in this one is that it's not adjusting the size. Watch the wording. I am moving the box currently and it's not adjusting the text. Now, if I shrink it, look what happens. Versus with the old one, it automatically shrinks it. Whereas with this one, it will now adjust it so that it goes on to a second line, right? You see that? It does that itself. And it may not seem like a lot, but it helps dramatically. And a matter of fact, I'll show you a perfect example of what I use it for, something that you saw earlier here a second ago, right? So if I bring back up my notes, okay, and then let me change this back to white so it's easier for you all to see. Okay. And then I will put the opacity back. All right. So for an example, here I used a text. Let's lock that. All right, perfect. So now I use the new text feature. So watch as I adjust this text on the screen by shrinking it down. Look what starts to happen. The text stays in the same place, but they shrink. Whereas before, it would crush all. So you would only see one, two, and then you would see two, right? One and two. You wouldn't see three and four any longer. Whereas now, if I do that, you still see one, two, three, and four. It's just the text gets smaller, right? It's a great thing, especially if you're going to be placing a lot of things on the screen, right? So those are just a couple of small features. Are there any other questions? Especially, I see we have some users on here who do it already. Any other questions that you may have that you want to know about? I'm definitely open for that as well. I wanted to keep it kind of simple for some of the new people from the group that I was in earlier today. But if you have some questions on any of those, I'm more than happy to bring those up for you. What's the other one? And then, oh, here's another great feature as well. I love that I use how to add text to the box. Perfect. I will get that for you right now. Here's a feature that I love using as well, right? That little right? So then now, let's say if I go to a different scene, let's say if I come to here, and then now that comes on to show me, right? Those little things that make the eyes like pop and everything like that. All right. So now, great question there, Precious. I'm going to show you the difference of what I mean. So I'm going to come to the back screen so people can see. So now here is the box that I was just working with. So a great option for people who don't know, maybe with Ecamm, you can just copy an item just by holding down Option and then dragging it over, right? You do not have to, let me get that line off drawing. Okay, so then now I'm going to write very similar text to what you were just seeing, but I'm going to do it for the regular one. So I'm just go one, and I'm going to just write some things there, okay? And then I'm going to go two, and write something there. Then I go 3, and doesn't matter what I write, and then 4. Okay. All right. So then now I'm going to place that onto that same box there. Make that color black so you can see it. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. How I got that on this one, Precious, is I am going to this box with the lines around it, this text box here with the lines around it in my overlay panel. It says text box overlay, and this one is dynamic text overlay. This is the text box overlay. Okay. The slight difference is, so now watch what happens to this one when I shrink it. Okay, you see how that one starts to do that. And when I change that to here, now you see the 1, and I make it bigger, and so it starts to disappear. Versus if I do it here, okay, you see how the numbers still stay the same, right? Maybe you don't want those numbers to disappear, so you have to make sure you use the new text box overlay in case you want to shrink the stuff down. Okay, so those are some quick ways of how you can adjust the text inside of those. But again, what's great is this gives you full control. Right, let me get those off. Get that off. This gives you full control over the ability. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The ability to copy rectangle. Go. Goodbye. All right. It gives you the ability to be able to adjust your text quickly and easily. Now, nope, I'm not gonna go there. That's too advanced. That's too advanced there. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Let me see if I've got this. What do I have? Do I have that there? All right, one second. Let me see if I bring this up and show you. Okay. Don't want to show you guys this one yet. No, I'll come back. I don't want to show you guys that one yet. Oh, look at the little, right? It's kind of cool. Let's see. All right, so let me get these off right now. And perfect. All right, so let's see what else. I see I covered overlays, text boxes, green screen. Let me see if I can show you another green screen type of a thing. Oh, wait. Oh, this was another one. Right? No. Okay, I see. Yeah. Is that one? Got it. Let's see. Oh, another great thing with the overlays. Let me come back and I'll show you guys. So here's another great thing with the overlays as well. So I want to do something interesting, something engaging with my lives, my content, right? So I can make these are done with overlays. Everything that you're seeing here is being done in Ecamm, right? And what? So now I do not have to, I'm not controlling the answer that's going to come up. It's going to come up automatically by itself. I was going to turn the music off, but 10 seconds. So watch what the answer is. What do you think the answer is? Quick. A, B, C, or D? Ecamm, of course. All right. So that was being done through overlays in Ecamm, right? I simply made it. And then, oh, you know what? Let me turn that off because, yeah, I could, that once or twice, I think that's cool, but let me turn that off. So, but again, that's done in Ecamm. This one. Hey, thank you, Amy. That says this is so cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's so many different things that allows you. And a lot of people who were inside our bootcamp class got to see that with Amy Porterfield's stuff that she has going on hers. The controlling of this is so simple. So, say for an example, Amy Fagan, do you have a web page or anything or a logo that you can maybe just put the link in there, or anything, a website? I'll show you an example of how I do that. So for an example, I do a lot of building out on scenes for people, and here's one that I built out that for someone who's doing a sports type of a thing. Or here's another one that I built out for someone who wanted to have two guests and they wanted theirs to look like Sports Center, right? So all of this was done in Ecamm. I didn't use any third party item to do anything. Everything was done in Ecamm to bring it in to do this, right? Let me see something else. Videos, again, that's another great aspect. And a lot of those were added into 4.1, but let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it for the new updates for 4.1. Let me see if there's another. Let me see if I hit my Khaled. DJ Khaled, hit him. Okay, again, this is done in Ecamm. Well, it's a green screen, but let me hit that. So the motion together was done in Ecamm. So you can make things come up on your screen. Let's see if I got, where's my unicorn? No, I did unicorn already, right? Let's see. Let's do
it.
Okay. Oh, that's a little
Just
loud. Yeah.
do it.
Let me turn that down.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
All right.
Yesterday,
So
you said tomorrow.
let's see. What else? Right? There's so many things, but I don't want to go through all of them. Again, these are some simple things that can be done, and it can make really, really great content for people who are looking for something to do, right? But if nothing changes if nothing changes, right? Little great things, aspirations you could do. Any questions so far? People who no, that's my zebra. That's my zebra. The other one was the unicorn, right? So what else? My opening that you all saw. This was done in. All of that was done in Ecamm. There's let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it for the new things. I could go on and show you any other thing. Is there anything else that you would want to know though, for yourself about what Ecamm can do in general? I'm more than happy to kind of show you. Um, this to me is one of the best streaming content. You have StreamYard, I've used it. You have vMix. Matter of fact, I'll even show you something here really quick. I've used all of those. Let me see if I can show you this. So there was a gentleman here. Yes, here he goes. And I will, let's see if I can blow this up a little bit bigger. All right, so if you can read this, he says, I am not a content creator yet. I give professional media streaming production services. So he's a production person. His studio is mainly for lab testing, POC demoing, and etc. Most of my work is done at the client's site or conference rooms, arenas, hall, classrooms, offices. Either way, during the last 5 years of my AV operations, I've experienced a dozen and used a dozen video switching software platforms: Wirecast, Minicam, OBS, Streamlabs, Switcher Studio, StreamYard Studio, Restream, all of them. Ecamm Live is by far the most flexible, comfortable, comprehensive production studio and fun working with. It is definitely my favorite, right? This is someone who's been doing the work for years and he's used all the other tools. So I don't compare Ecamm to being the best over any of them. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? I say that it is one of the best content creating and professional looking one around. Take a listen really quick to a gentleman who I was bringing on and listen to what he says. And this, matter of fact, I'll tell you on the flip side of what he says, but just take a listen to this here for what he says. Check this out. Podcast, Apple, Google, all of those ones there. And that's my simple spiel in a nutshell.
Hey man, I gotta tell you, this is amazing. I've been on many podcasts. This is the best one I've seen in terms of preparation and how you go about understanding who I am and what I'm talking about, and even preparing with the 5 steps. So I'm excited. And the fact that, look, you are looking at working at small businesses, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I was talking to one of my major clients today, and he got a $6 million job, right? And I was like,
Okay, so now let me tell you really quick. What he's referring to is that on my podcast, I have like a 15-minute connection call. And within that call, I did a preparation to show him how the video portion of the podcast was going to go. And in his book that we promoted, he has 5 steps. So I used Ecamm, and when he spoke and he said step one, Ecamm would bring up step one on the screen and then step two on screen. So I used that to show him how much of a preparation and how professional it looks. And this is a gentleman who deal with $1 million clients, and I wanted to make sure I got the podcast and got his business. And then even after that, actually, he signed up for Ecamm. He uses it now in his preparations for his meetings when he's putting up like numbers on the screen. When he goes, all right, let's go over number one, let's go over number two. So he uses it now as well. But I use it in our connection call and our coffee talk, just to show him how the production was going to go. And if you're doing let's say, for example, like how Amy was talking about today, if I'm going to do this and make this for my material, I can use Ecamm to have all of my scenes made right away. And let me show you an example of what I'm referring to. Okay, so, and I'm gonna kind of just rush through them so you will see for an example. So let me bring up, when I do this for my LinkedIn, let's bring this up. Is this the one? Let's see. Is that the one? Okay. So then, yes. All right. So that would be my second one. So then I come here, and then as I'm talking, now I'm going to say, check out this next video. This video is talking about A, B, and C. And in this one, we're going to be dealing with this. Then I come back and I say, all right, so here we go. And then I go back to the next video. And I say, now check this video out. It's going to be doing this A, B, and C. And I say, did you guys check that out? Did y'all enjoy that? Here we go, right? And I'm doing all of that in Ecamm, and I'm still talking because now I'm prepared, and I have my videos, I have my slides, I have my PDFs or whatever I want right there. Okay. So that's an example of how you're able to do it and how simple you're able to do that with Ecamm, and I can make things on the fly. Now I'm going to show you one of the absolute most powerful things. Now I wasn't going to do this because this is kind of like an advanced thing. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to show it to you anyways, right? So let's come back to this screen here. All right. Now, you didn't notice that, but I did change screens. But I did that for a specific reason. So let's say, for an example, let's bring this one back here and let me find it. All right. So let's say, for an example, I have this on screen, right? I am doing a live, and all of a sudden, I'll show you 2 ways. So you can see how this is moving, right? From one part of the screen over to the next part of the screen. Yes. All right. So now let's say if I did this in my live and I'm like, oh man, in my mind, oh, that shouldn't be there. It's supposed to be on the other side of the screen. Okay. You know what? Let me do this to show you. No, it'll work here. It'll work here. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go into what's called preview mode, which means I am going to make adjustments on the screen without you seeing this, for an example, right? Without you seeing that. I'm going to change the color of this, and I'm going to move it from here to here, okay? So watch. I'm going to add, but you will still see me live, all right? So for an example, you can hear me. I'm still in, let me do it this hand. I'm still live. You can hear me, but I'm in what's called preview mode. So I'm waving my hands. I'm changing this to yellow right now. I'm moving this over to the other side of the screen, okay? And I'm going to change this to circle. Let's do this. I'm going to do that just for a circle, okay? Now I'm going to go back to live mode and watch what happens. Okay, ready? Here we go. Right? Do you see that? I just made all of those changes on the fly as I'm still talking to you without you seeing it. So if you make a mistake, right? So let me reverse what I did. So I'll show you. I'll go back to, hey, thank you so much. Let me what was that, rectangle? Yeah, okay. And then let me put this back here. And I'm gonna show you something here in just a second, show you why that's so important. Let me just get this back to white. Okay, perfect. So let's see here. Posh Academy. Let's see. Posh Academy said that's very cool. Thank you. Yeah, and what that does is, so for an example, I'm going to change the text and say, instead of here you can place and say that's very cool, right? And then what's happening is now it's going to change on the screen. So I can do it without you seeing that I made a mistake. Maybe I put 25% discount on something. And I'm like, oh no, that's supposed to be 15%. That's not supposed to be 25. I can go and make that change quickly on the fly. Another great aspect about this is if I am bringing on a guest, I'll show you for an example. Look how clean and professional this looks, adding that motion into there so my guests will feel powerful. I can bring on up to 10 guests and so many other things. Man, there's so many things I want to show you guys, but I teach in a specific pattern when I do my courses. And these kind of things, I'm just free flowing, and I'm like John Travolta sometimes. I get confused oh, is this blowing your mind? Is this blowing your mind, ladies and gentlemen out there? Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. I didn't want to stay this long, but I just wanted to go over overlays, text boxes, and green screens to show you how you're able to check that out. If you check out the link that's inside of the chat box, there is a 14-day free trial for you to check out with the new one. And also, Searchy is what I use as well. Searchy has a 30-day free trial. That's what I use to host all of my content. I'm an affiliate for both of them, but they have all of those there. And we know it's almost fall time and it's getting a little bit colder. So get on board now, get ready for everything that's happening. If there's aren't any more questions, I want to thank everyone who came, who's watching right here on YouTube, who's watching on Facebook. And I'm also streaming to LinkedIn. So I'm streaming to 3 places right now. Thank you everyone who's been a part of this right here. Let's see here. I think that's it. Yep, there's nothing else that I wanted to maybe show off. Does anyone else have any other questions before I get ready to go? Here's my rapid fire for my questions. Questions until this goes off. You got till then, and I'm saying sayonara. And if you were in Amy's course bootcamp with me, hey, this is such a great thing that you saw Amy use it through the whole bootcamp. You already know what it can do. So I appreciate that. Thank you all. Message me if you want anything else to be a part of the accountability group. Let's get our digital courses going. Thank you guys. Enjoy the day, and watch the exit, watch the intro or the outro. Watch the outro. Check it out. I got 2 different ones. I'll do both.
Here I come, you can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slow.
Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. To the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter.